Hey folks, welcome back to the Pulse. My name's Matt. This is Crypto Heartbeat. It's 2:31 Central Texas time, and what a day it's been. Crypto in the morning. I don't know if you made it or listened to it this morning, but Crypto in the morning with Jim Rat Crypto and Sam, it was epic, man. You know what's cool about it? If you get a chance, I put the link in the description. It's pretty impressive because it's probably the best example of someone like getting it in real time. Like Sam literally was like, "Oh my gosh." Like they didn't know what Texan token was about. They didn't know what tokenizing communities was about. They didn't know what we were really doing. And it was like a real time aha moment. Gave Sam goosebumps, which is crazy. And I just so appreciate shout out to Jim Rat and to Sam, and for what they're doing. Jim Rat's sober, and I think about our community and the kind of things that they're doing. And we got to realize, folks, there's a lot of people struggling in our community, and this concept of advocacy, which you're going to be talking about today. What is the golden rule? You've heard the golden rule before, right? Right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You're like, hold on, I got to think about others as I think about myself. If I do that, well, that's like the golden rule. Back in the day, we used to call these things virtues. People use the term values now, but kind of in turn of the century, it was this concept of having certain virtues, and these virtues you wanted to aspire to. And what's amazing about this idea of community and getting better and contributing, encouraging one another is this idea. Hold on, if I consider what's best for you and for me, So what you do when you do that is you become an advocate. What does it mean to be an advocate? You ever, I don't know what type of person you were, but when I was a kid, we had some interesting things happen. My oldest brother got beat up a lot. And I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where somebody is being treated unfairly around you and you're an advocate for them. Any situation, bullying, whatever it may be in school or in life, you see that there's something that's not fair, it's not right. And you stand up against that and you say, this is wrong. This is not right. I'm going to advocate for a group of people. That's what we're going to be talking about today on the Pulse. But I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so excited because, man, there's hope. There's hope in the future, even though across the world, people are struggling and there's people in all kinds of dire situations. And folks, it's amazing what the blockchain has enabled. Resources are absolutely mission critical to be able to live a life. And in this day and age, to see abundance is before us if we work together is amazing. So I'm just so thankful for that. Super thankful to Jim Rat and Sam for having us on this morning. It's great to see Brandon. Maybe we'll see him again later today, but it is so good to see you. And Michael, number one, Michael Ostel. Okay, let's rock this house. I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited to be here to be a part of this myself, because you can't do it alone. It's impossible to do it alone. We can only do it together, and winning together is the only way to win. If you want to win yourself, help other people win, advocate for them, watch out for them. I was having lunch with ZZ Tesco. This is Ray. He's our senior dev. He's my best friend. And we were just kind of chatting about things. And I go, what's amazing is, the more that you recognize that people are created in the image of God, you start to value them no matter where they live, no matter where on the planet, no matter what piece of dirt, no matter who their government is. And if you recognize that people have inherent value, you say, you know what, it's my challenge to see the best in others. And sometimes that's really difficult. Some people don't make it very easy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, some people don't make it very easy, but we're called to love people. And what do you do when you love people? It's not like this, like, oh, you need a big hug. Although David Lee will give you a hug. All the way from southwestern Indiana, David Lee, he's the guy that came to my dad's funeral. He knew what was up. He was expressing love, using his feet, driving his truck up and coming to see us. And I just really appreciate that because it's an example of what we're to do for each other, right? We're watching out for each other. We're advocating for others. supporting the troops in the field. You know what I'm saying? If you're a military man, you know what I mean. But yeah, it's exciting to be a part of this. David Lee, wonderful thing, Mr. Austell. That's right. Godfather J6, always here, always been here since the absolute beginning. He is the guy that is advocating for young ones and for others as well, as always with a positive word and vibe, with the peace, the fire, and the love. Godfather J6, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you so much. Texas Life is back again. Amen. I made it live again. Good to see you for a second day in a row. Thanks for being here, everybody. Guys, this is it, man. What are we doing? It's like group therapy, right? Just huddling around this box and going, you know what? We got a shot. We got a shot, folks. It's just so encouraging. Was visiting with John, and John Firestarter 88 he is the guy in the Philippines, and John is the founder of the Ophir token. And if you know what we're doing in crypto is that we're tokenizing communities, and there is no greater advocate for the truth and for people who are struggling than John in the Philippines. And I encourage you to take a look at that project, ophircrypto.com. And they literally just started their donation phase where you can give to a registered nonprofit organization called Gem Effect, which is the group that is giving and supporting these local churches. And there's 3,000 churches, folks. You know how many people that represents? It's a big community of people. And of course, the people in the Philippines, man, I'll tell you what. But that is a way in which you can donate crypto directly to Gem Effect. And 100% of the dollars go to a nonprofit organization. And Ophir Crypto, which includes our team, is going to airdrop anyone who gives 10,000 to 1. So you get 10,000 tokens as a no value donation premium, and you get Ophir tokens airdrop to you as a premium for giving. It's a thank you, right? But it has no value, and it's a token called Ophir. But to me, it's really cool because it addresses poverty. It addresses helping the local church. And you know what I like about the local church is that there's no organization in the world that's bigger than the local church. You could go to the most remote places. There's no post office. There's no grocery store, but there's a church. And those are the people that are meeting the needs of the people on the ground, especially in remote and poverty-stricken areas. And that is cool. And I appreciate the advocacy that John provides. So that's ophircrypto.com. If you want to check out more about it, you can there. But it's not a stream unless the D-Gen himself is here. Dougie Peach. What's up, Mr. Peach? Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Hexonium's here. Hex Father Man, what's up? Good to see you. Crypto Pay. Hello, people. Jack Handy's here. You know, there's some regulars, man. There's some people who have been all over the streams all day today. And I see you because I watch a lot of this content myself. Jack Handy, thanks for being here, and thanks for being there and everywhere else in between. And Paul Op the 7th. Hello, good to see you, JB. What's up, JB? With the muscle up. Mr. David Lee saying hello to Mr. Peach and Texan OG Day One. I love it. I absolutely love it. Got the Texan logo in the profile pic. OG, original gangster Day One. He who holds the gold makes the rules. Isn't that the truth, right? Right? There's power in having the resources. And I look at everything in this world. Now, is the answer to everything more money? No, but it sure could help when it's decentralized, because decentralized money means you've made a decision yourself. I cannot make you engage your wallet with a DeFi protocol. I can't do that. That's you. That's your decision. But what's so exciting is what I've seen happen in this space when people take these risks, calculated risks that are for them based on their own research, and they literally, their lives can be changed. And to me, that's a ton of hope that's in that. But when you decentralize the money, it's not coming from the state, right? We're decreeing it together in community. And you know what? The hope is that we can change our circumstances. And that's the vision. That's the story. That's what I see in advocating for people, is to see this woman in the Philippines, and maybe her and her family scratch up $100 US, and maybe they have an experience like Balliet Brand did with Hex, right? He's like, Matt, when $100 turns into $1 million, could you imagine? You don't realize how much $100 is in the Philippines. So it's really cool to see and to advocate for a group of people. But here's the thing. We're all the same, folks. We all put our put our pants on one leg at a time, right? And so, what's really cool about communication technology, especially YouTube, is that we can connect with other people and we see their humanity, right? I miss Crypto Bobcat, who's strong like bull. Crypto Bobcat, Russian guy, right? He's a Hexican, and it's like all this stuff, this old idea we're just fighting this war, this business of war. And I look at people dying in the Ukraine and all that kind of stuff. And I look at it and I say, you know what? Hang on a second, folks. We got all these powers that be, and we send them billions of dollars, and they're not making peace. If you surveyed everyone in America and said, do you think that we should be funding a war in Ukraine? It would be a resounding no. And you wonder, we got to speak up, folks. We got to speak up. That's why we're supporting Texas independence. David Lee says it was a great interview. It was fantastic. We rarely get an opportunity to share this kind of detail outside of our own channel. So a lot of times I'm preaching to the choir. You guys get this stuff. You may want to be a little bit of encouragement, but boy, I'll tell you what, if you want to see just, to me, it's Sam's face and Jim Rat's face when they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize what was here. And that's the big thing. We're bringing crypto to places where trust already exists. And I almost feel like it's a cheat code for adoption. It's a total cheat code, adoption, right? Little gaming analogy there. Nate Mintz, formerly Nate Stakes. You know what? I tried to give him some ideas on what to change his name to. He didn't like Nate Snakes, so he went with Nate Mintz. It just doesn't have the same ring as Nate Stakes, but you know what? We'll embrace it. I do love that green helmet, though. That is good. Up and to the right. Francis Powell, hello, all. Good to see you. Katie's in the house. Francis Powell, what is going on? And the Hex Honcho. This is the Hex Honcho. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you. Hex Force 1 is in the house. Sup, Hexicans. Good to see you. Everybody loves seeing David Lee, don't we? We do. Daniel, what's going on? Good to be here again with the love. Yeah, it's great to see you. And fallen comrade, the fallen comrade. What's up, everybody? David Lee, Paul Opp, NT Fryer. Welcome back. A good day to all. Next crisis after nitrogen will be the water quality in Holland. Wow. And this is not necessary. A better water management is not rocket science. That's the thing. And it's a war on all these things, because what is actually happening is that, you look at this supply chain, right? Disruption, this idea of the Great Reset. What is it about? It's putting people in such a bind. You're basically, it's like drawing somebody off sides, right? In an American football, you do a hard count at the line. Why do you do the hard count? Because you want them to be drawn off sides so you have an advantage and get the penalty. It's the same thing here. They're using crises to draw us off sides, to get us imbalanced and in fear so that they can enact the next thing, right? You think about what is one of the craziest things that's happened to liberty in the United States? It's the Patriot Act. But everybody was for it because of 9/11, right? And of course, you question people's motives, but at the end of the day, the people that are at the top they understand this. How do you manipulate the masses, right? When you think you're smarter than everybody, you don't want to give away the power. You amass it and centralize it. And that's the problem in our communities. We're centralizing everything. No. We need to decentralize everything. If a man is ruled from within, he does not have to be ruled from without, meaning the state. David Lee supporting Ophir Crypto. .com. That is fantastic. If you want to join the Telegram, you've got any questions, you want to meet some of the team, you can join them at t.me/Ophir Crypto. That would be good. Clintrons, morning all. Good to see you, Clintrons. Hey, Texican OG. What's up, Texan OG? NT had a great stream this morning with Jim Rat Crypto and Sam. It was special. It really was. It was really cool. And the fact that they gave us that amount of time, asked great questions, and then had that aha moment. And I was just like inspired. I'm like, all right, you're going to pitch him slow. I'm going to hit him long. Let's go. Right? Katie says, let's go. Big BM Miners. Yes, I catch a live. Love your content, Matt. You're inspirational. Thank you. Hey, you know what? Everybody's got something to bring to the table. And, the more you bring it to the table, the better you get at doing it. And so I just want to, I just know that we speak things into existence. And why do I know that? Because in creation, it was spoken into existence. Think about this for a second. I'll make a case to you. If you're not somebody that's religious or Christian, I get it. It's totally fine. It's your thing. However, let me just share this with you. Look at your dog. Got a dog, or look at any animals in the animal kingdom, right? When was the last time you were driving down the street and you saw maybe a dog painting a picture? Or did you ever go anywhere and like, somebody's dog, like, I don't know, helped you at the supermarket? No, because what's interesting and different about us and the animals is the fact that we have the ability, we actually know the difference between good and evil, and we have an ability to create. Now, there's some animals that use tools. So I don't want to discount that, like, hey, a stick helps me here, or this helps me there. But what defines us differently, and we are different than the animals, and we were called and created to subdue this earth, right? We were called to have dominion over it, to be rulers over this place. But we're also have this choice between good and evil, and we can create by speaking. It's really fascinating when you think about this, is that when we speak, things appear. And in the secular world, people talk about manifesting things. Well, they're tapping into the same thing. Is you have this creative ability. And so, Richard says this all the time. He's like, hey, if you want a picture of an elephant, you can draw one. I didn't have an elephant, picture of an elephant before, and now I have one. That is what makes you unique. My dog has never come to me with a picture of an elephant. Never made me dinner either, and keeps on insisting that I provide him his. Daniel, $100 USD is 5,534. There you go, PHP. That's the peso in the Philippines. That's right. Moonrunner, what's going on? Good morning, all. Flipping twit with the muscle up. And Samantha, Sam, I am. Good afternoon, all. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Today's topic is advocacy. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule. Well, what is this idea of the golden rule? And many people think that they have to be martyrs. What is a martyr? Somebody that dies for a cause. You don't have to martyr yourself. What's so interesting about this is, we have this system that's been set up on fighting over scarcity, right? All kinds of things, right? There's not enough fossil fuels. There's not enough food. There's not enough all of these things, right? And a lot of times we create artificial scarcity. If you look at the De Beers company, which is the family that's the diamond cartel, in reality, there's a tremendous amount of supply of diamonds, but they have cornered that market long ago, and they dole out the supply because we know that what drives the price of something but supply and demand. And they convinced everybody that they needed to buy diamond rings for their bride to be. And it's a part of this process of creating essentially artificial supply, artificial demand. And that's what happens in a cartel. You control things. And I think what's interesting about this concept of, controlling the markets and centralizing them is that that's what we're seeing in this world is scarcity. Now, there are limitations with gold, right? It's scarce, it's rare, right? It takes a lot of energy and effort to pull it out of the ground. The same thing with oil and gas. But what we do and what we see in this world is that people are trying to hoard, right? We don't believe that there's enough to go around. So what we do is we say, hold on, we'll go in and we will basically take you down in the name of oil. So if you really think of what was behind weapons of mass destruction and regime change in Iraq, we learned a lesson there. But we've seen this for a long time, right? People using war, people using these things and going and taking things from other people. There's a lot of really interesting pictures of this, and we're seeing the result of our labor. When I was a kid, I grew up and I thought, you know what? We're in the greatest country in the world, right? We're the good guys. And then, of course, you hear people screaming infidel from across the seas. And you think about it, and they're like, no, this is the devil. America is the devil. And I'm like, I don't buy that, man. Like, no, we're the good guys. And the more and more I look at things, my son was asking this morning about nuclear war. It's weird talking to your kid about nuclear war. He's asking about, what kids ask about. But when I think about this idea of, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we supporting? And who are we? And what is the West as it relates to NATO? And I'm not saying that, Russia's better. What I am saying, though, is that they have a culture and they're making it pretty darn clear what they want. Is this the next Nazis? Well, I think a lot of people, propaganda in the West would like you to think that Putin is, Hitler's nephew. And this idea they just want to take over the world. And I don't know. That's not what they've said since 2014, regime change and the fighting in the Donbass, you know. Now, I'm not going to get in. It's complicated, and I'm not saying I understand every detail about it, but I would say this. We got a lot of problems here at home, and we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars over to fight a proxy war, and we're okay. And I think this is what's interesting with governments. We're okay with somebody else dying and not our kids. It's really fascinating to me. And it goes to show you that the people that are out there fighting these things, it's really the business of war. It's part of economic work, and it's also a distraction. And it's really interesting as we move into this time where we're seeing the humanity across the world, right? We're recognizing that these are people. And I, from my Christian worldview, I look at it and I say, hold on, everyone that breathes air is created in the image of God. They're image bearers. And I think once you work from that premise and you say that all men and women are created equally and they are endowed with certain inalienable rights that are self evident, these are things that, hey, you don't get from the state. It makes you look at the systems and the power and you think about, things are changing and they ought to. And what's very fascinating about this is, I don't think, we should just lay down our weapons, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't be strong. But I also look at this and I go, hold on, what's actually driving this? And I see what's happened is in the corporate world, right? Big business. And it's really this business of extraction. So if you look across the world, you realize people have gone into places to extract value. And it's the story of kind of colonization. It's the story of going, and conquering things. But you know what? We're going to forge our swords into plowshares. What does that mean? You convert those, right? You forge them from weapons of war into weapons of production. The blockchain is a big, big catalyst for this because it puts in the hands of regular people like you and me, essentially, the means by which we can come together in community and decree our own value. So what happens if you defund the war machine? And what happens if you advocate for people that are, considered the unwashed masses, right? Klaus Schwab would say you're deplorable people, right? We're smarter and you're stupid. Well, what happens if those people have an abundance? Because on one side of the picture, you have these people across the world that think they know better. These are the globalists and the authoritarians. And they're like, we know better. Just give us more. Look at Trudeau. Trudeau is praising China. Why is he praising China? Because, it's a lot easier when people are afraid of you and you can do whatever you want and you can control people. They don't speak up. It's a lot easier to get stuff done because you just do it by edict. But the beauty of decentralization is that you keep the government and its control contained to certain enumerated powers, the things that you're designed to do. Is a national defense a pretty good idea? Well, sure, we should probably work together and, but there's a point in which corporate greed, in this business that is global, has essentially, they have been nursing off the teat of war. And what does that look like? And what does that create? A dependency upon forever wars. And you know what? The problem is because of scarcity. And I think about this and I go, well, how do these things change? And, I really admire Richard Hart, right? Richard Hart, does he get everything right? No. He's gotten a lot of things right. But one of the things he talks about is fix the money, fix the world. I do not believe that you fix the world because the world's problem is actually a corruption of the human heart. And it's spoken to about in the Bible of what that really is. But you make a really big dent in things when you decentralize the money. When you tokenize communities and you unlock value for people, they end up speaking up because they have the resources to do it. And so you think about political change and what political change really means. Well, if the people have the resources, right, rather than what I believe is happening in this world. And what is happening in this world, in my opinion, is that people are being convinced that, hold on a second, we leaders, the people that are in power, hold on, if we can get these people into a state of fear, we can lock them down or we can control them or we can, create or use crises. We can get them to a point where we can essentially say, hey, look at this, robots are taking your jobs. Look at, you guys are breathing too much and we're causing all this problem with the planet. and they're worshiping at the altar of climate change or whatever the latest fad is. Remember that it used to be the ozone layer, and now it's climate change. But it's all of these crises that we should be up at night worried about. But what are they doing? They're using those things ultimately, I think, because they want to put a carrot in front of you. It's just like what Biden's doing with the student loan stuff that's in the courts, right? Hey, well, I'll buy you off. I'll bribe you to vote for me. I'll buy you off, right? And I'll set up a straw man that's actually not true, right? That we should, everyone should pay for your student loans or whatever it may be. But what's end up happening is I think we're getting to this point where the crisis gets so bad that we're essentially going to create such dependency on a centralized form of government that, the way they'll get adoption of the CBDCs is they will ultimately have you in a position where you have no choice but to accept their stimulus money, right? In your new shiny CBDC wallet with its social credit score and digital ID. Because you'll be at a point where I can't survive. I can't get food. I don't have all the stuff. But the prices are crazy. And they say, don't you worry. We'll take care of you. We'll throw a rope down to you and pull you up. No. We need an alternative to that system because you're meant to be productive and creative. You're meant to create value. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to decree it ourselves rather than relying on these governments who have not our interest in mind. And that's what's so powerful about tokenizing communities. So what ends up happening? They want to give you universal basic income. Oh, we'll dole it out to you. But you know what that comes with, right? Strings attached. A lot of strings are attached. But when you can unlock value that comes out of the heart, the creative mind and heart of men and women across the world in community and trust, what do you gain? A deeper appreciation for each other, a sense of participation, creation, and ownership. But the byproduct of it is community and love. Now, I'm admitting to you right now, I am a Pollyanna, complete, naive idealist. But without vision, the people perish. So I believe that there's a future like that. And I've seen evidence that it's possible. So let's get on it. Let's do it. Let's go. But we have to advocate for other people. So advocacy, what does it really mean? It's when we think about others and our heart is pricked by the things that are either unjust or not fair, or we say, hold on a second. I have a way in which I can contribute to this, right? I'm not coming to get something or extract something. I'm actually coming to give something. And that's this concept of advocacy. And, not everybody is an advocate. Not everyone's somebody that's going to stand up and say, hold on, that's not right. Or no one's going to say, hey, I can help. Or, hey, can I be of assistance to you? But I'm going to tell you what, it comes from this concept of the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have them do to you. So be thoughtful. That's what it says, be thoughtful. And what I love about the Hex community, the Texan King community, the Pulse Chain community, this whole crypto community that I've been steeped in for the last year and a half is the fact that people care about other people. And what's interesting is they literally forget all their differences because they're winning together, especially when it's a bull run. And I've been there. It's awesome. But you think about that. Everybody in the centralized world wants to tell you how different you are than your neighbor. They want to show you, oh, you should hate this person because they look like this. And you're like, but I don't. We're winning together. We're Hexicans. Welcome to Hexaco. Have a nice day. It's powerful, folks. And I mentioned on Jim Ratt's channel, I said, it says on earth as it is in heaven. Well, what is that? Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is near. What does that mean, near? I often think about the veil. It says we see dimly, but at some point later, right, we're going to see to the other side. Elisha was in the battle and says, Lord, open their eyes. And when the veil was opened, there were chariots of fire. And you think about that idea that there's stuff that's happening that we don't see, and we don't realize who we are in the context of this place and the power that is in love. It says love covers a multitude of sins. What are sins? The corrupt heart desiring to get mine and step on your neck. You can have it all. And you don't. See, that's the thing. That's scarcity, right? You're out there hustling, right? And working hard, and should, right? You should be disciplined. But you know what's interesting? You should be disciplined and active and caring for other people, because that's how you win, right? because your life is much more rich and meaningful. But everyone has been wired differently and gifted differently. And I would suggest to you, as an advocate, are you an advocate? And you may be like, I don't know what I am. Well, guess what? I am 100% confident, because it's happened to me and just about everybody I know, is that if you're willing to wake up in the morning and rub your eyes and stop for a minute in the quiet, maybe pull out a cup of coffee and sit there early and just ask, why am I here? What did you make me for? What is the purpose, and what do you have for me to do? And then recognize something significant. You've probably heard this story. The Israelites made it across the Red Sea, and they're in the wilderness 40 years, folks, before they crossed over the Jordan. And they're there and they're grumbling, of course, but there was manna. And what was manna? Everybody's heard this story, regardless if you've been in the church or not. Manna from heaven, which is provision that God provided every morning. And they gathered it up, and it was like flour, it was like bread. It had value to them. And there was also quail. But what was interesting is they tried to store it up. They tried to hoard it. They tried to centralize the manna. Guess what happened? You couldn't keep it overnight. It would spoil, except on the Sabbath. It kept for an extra day, but only that day before. And so it's been said, and you've probably heard it many times, give us this day our daily bread. Well, you know what? You can't add a day to your life, and you don't know what the day looks like or tomorrow looks like. So let it worry about itself. Be faithful today. And what can you do? There's nothing greater than you could do than serve other people. You want to be great? Be a servant. Okay? Think about others in addition to yourself. And I think one of the greatest things about the spiritual nature of what the currency is, it's peace in your heart. And so one of the things I like to do is I like to get up early before the sun comes up, and I like to sit with my cup of coffee and take my insulin so that my blood sugar isn't so high, and just go, all right, let me get recentered for the day. Because you know what? There's going to be all kinds of things that come at me today. And I want to be able to be in a position where I can literally effervesce. What is effervescence? But literally splash out joy and love and encouragement to others. But I have to get myself centered, because so many times in relationships and the things that we're doing in life, and we're taking. So many people are working on a point system with each other in relationships. Oh, hey, look, I cleaned up the dishwasher. Give me some points for this. Maybe you'll do something for me. And it's like, hold on, am I doing this out of a cheerful heart? Well, I have to be filled up. I have to have peace in my life in order for me to serve and love other people. And that's really where faith lives. It lives, and that's where maturity lives. Some of the greatest people, my dad was this kind of guy. He was always happy to see me. And I think about that. Like, why? Well, probably because I'm his son. But you know what? It's really, really, really cool when you ask yourself, what kind of person do you want to be? And are you advocating for other people? And I remember my grandfather had really soft hands because he hadn't worked it in years and years and years. And him grabbing you. And he's, scratchy beard, and I'm a kid, and he pulls you and he's like, how you doing, man? Are we doing that? Are we breathing life into people? And I'm going to tell you, you think about what kind of person do you want to be, right? I mean, having resources is fantastic. And there's so many things. It gives you so many options. You buy your time back. You can invest differently. But I would ask you the question, what kind of person do you want to be, right? I mean, go to any party, right? And you know that guy. All he wants to do is talk about himself. Hey, guys, let me tell you a little bit more about me. Be interested, not interesting. So many people out there are feeling awkward or insecure, and they feel like they got to just constantly talk. Shut up and listen. Ask some good questions. Get to know some people. You build relationships with them. Show interest. Be for people. So many people that I run into are just negative all the time. It's amazing. If you take stock of it and you see somebody, it's basically a constant complaining. And you think about this and you're like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be the person that, boy, I walk into a room and somebody's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's a decision you make. And some people are wired for it, right? They're Eeyores in our life. Remember Eeyore? Right? Everything was always a problem for Eeyore. And there are people that are wired that way. But I would challenge you, especially in crypto, as you see this, you're a hopeful person. You see the future. You're idealistic. You're probably pragmatic. You understand investment. You've probably been somewhat wise with your finances. This is a real opportunity, I think, for you to look at these things in a different way and to advocate for others. Because the more we can do that, the more we can share that, that's what drives this whole network effect in crypto. It's just care and concern for other people. That's it. And it comes out of a heart of advocacy. And so when I met John in the Philippines, I was like, oh my goodness, here's somebody that it is part of his gifting and wiring to serve people and to advocate for the truth and fairness and all these things. And it burdened him to see what was happening in the pandemic. It burdened him to see the oppression. It burdened him. And he wanted to be able to do something about it. And to me, what's incredible is the gift of the blockchain that addresses these things. Because there's only so much you can hand out, right? There's only so much you can do with your hands and feet. You don't scale very well. But imagine what you could do is you said, hold on a second. We're just one beggar helping another beggar find food. Meaning we know where the source is. And this works on multiple levels. It works on a spiritual level because you go, hey, I know where the food is, meaning I know where the peace is. And then on the other side, we know where the physical food is, meaning the resources. And we see this because everything in this world that's been created has been created out of the mind of man or woman. And so we think about this. Well, what is fiat currency? It is a proxy for your labor. This is not 2 hours of work or 1 hour of work or 1 minute of work. It's a representation. It is a derivative and a proxy. It is a representation of my personal labor. And you see this when it comes to authoritarians is they don't want to treat your labor as private property. These are things, it's private property, your time and energy and effort. Some people are super efficient, right? You're an attorney, you made a bunch of money, you went to all this schooling and they pay you a lot more for your time than somebody that didn't go to school. But you know what? We're contributing a piece of ourselves because this is just a representation of your creative ability and your time and effort. You don't see it that way. You're like, no, I just go get a job and work by the hour. I do this thing to create value. Well, that's who you are. That's why we are not taken over by robots, because it still needs this thing, this spark of the spirit in us that is creative by nature. And so we make this stuff up. This is no different than Hex or the Texan token. It's an agreement with a group of people that live on a piece of dirt that have rules and leaders and currency. And in the future, because of the blockchain and the decentralization of the money, we can decree our own value. It is beautiful and it is dangerous, and it leads to a revolution that ultimately turns into a renaissance. And I believe we have a responsibility here, at least I think I have a responsibility here, to try to make this place look a lot more like that place. So what if we had a team and an army and a cartel of people who are advocating for other people? It's not hard to do, and I'm going to tell you what, there's fruit in it. A tree is known by its fruit. Yeah, there's fruit in this, meaning it produces a bounty. And what is the bounty that it produces? It produces joy and peace and patience and kindness and gentleness and self-control. It's powerful stuff, folks. Love covers a multitude of sins. Consider others in addition to yourself. Be an advocate for people. Help them win. Sam Kemp, you know Sam Kemp. Sam Kemp knows about that. He's got 7 great-grandchildren. Do you think he's an advocate? Heck yeah, he is. He's like pulling out pictures, showing all the family. He's proud. He has a legacy. And you know what it's a legacy of? And he said this on the stream, so I'm not talking out of school. It's a legacy of faithfulness. But he would also admit to you, when he was a younger man, he didn't make the greatest decisions, right? Talked about being sober for so long, making these right decisions. And what does he have? Like arrows in a quiver. It is full. And what do? Why do they consider children like arrows in a quiver? Because they're sharp and pointy and they travel out and they do their thing. And so what is Sam doing? He's like, I'm looking at all the ways in which I can continue this legacy, whether it be with staking, very practical things. But what is it? What is advocacy if not love and not care and concern for other people? And so these mechanisms, these tools, these immutable contracts, this tokenomics, all of this stuff is great. You got to pick a horse to ride if you're in this business. But here's the coolest thing about it is once you pick a horse to ride, you have to take a responsibility. It's not mine. It's not Richard Hart's. It's not Brandon's. No, we just give a gift and we tell the story and we say, hey, this might fit with what you're trying to accomplish. And for Sam Kemp, he's like, yeah, hey, I'd love to see something like this happen. I'd love to make a difference. I'd love to see my great grandchildren be successful, right? But you know what Sam Kemp would also say to me? I know he would say this. I know the dangers of giving immature young people too much money and them not learning how to create value and not learning about what their creative ability is in bringing value to others. There's nothing more as an example of this than like a guy who went from nothing, rags to riches, and his kids are just a waste because they just expected it. They just assumed daddy's got the money and I've got it and I don't have to do anything. I was with a guy named Ron Blue before he passed away years and years ago in Atlanta. And I was at a conference and I was listening to talk to some very mature men. And he said, you know what? If you got a lot of money, fellas, and he was talking to these very rich guys. And he said, here's the thing. Do not give your money to your children. Give it to your grandchildren. Or in Sam's case, great-grandchildren. Why? You give money to your kids and they are like bears. They will devour you, right? And a lot of times if they've seen you earn this or they've experienced kind of the wake of your success, they expect they can continue to ride those coattails. And the discipline of being somebody that's wealthy, right? And you may find yourself in abundance. You may be a young person. You may be 24 years old. And you're like going to be a millionaire in this next bull run. You don't just give money to your kids. You got to teach them how to create value in the society and be a productive citizen. Give it to the grandkids. That's cool. Set up trusts, right? Provide, pay for college, do those things, create opportunities for them, provide, but also be cautious because I know some really rich people that are pretty darn miserable. But that's for another time. But folks, be an advocate. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So you consider, what would I like people to be like? Hey, I'd like them to be nice and treat me well and bring me gifts and smile at me and have a good word. Well, be that kind of person. Whatever you want more of, do more of that. But think about others in addition to yourself. And it's so counterintuitive because in this world, everybody's telling you, you got to get yours. And you got to take it from somebody else and step on their heads. You got to hustle. You got to muscle. You got to grab the bull by the horns. Don't get me wrong. Discipline is extremely important. Why do I stream every day? Discipline. Got to do it. Even if I don't feel like it, got to do it. But that's the thing you got to relate to is that it's not muscling. I learned long ago, I never, ever kick down a door. I might knock on the door. I might say, hello, housekeeping. But I will never kick it down. Meaning, doors open that are supposed to open. If you trust that and take your bread for the day, lay your head down at night and you can sleep well and do it again. That's what we're doing here, folks. But I'm going to tell you, I got more hope than I've ever had in the midst of such crises. This is the time of change, and you're at the right place at the right time. Between 3 and 5% of the population of the world is in crypto, and everything's going digital. This is the greatest thing ever. I remember the first time I heard the term www. What's this internet thing? I remember somebody telling me, hey, you got an email address? I'm like, what the hell do you need an email address for? But that was 1994, 93. Now look at it, right? Folks, this is the most incredible time to be alive in human history, but it's very consequential. And what you do actually matters because there's a purpose to your life and there's a plan. And it's not unknowable. I'm telling you that right now. It's quiet, right? You got to listen. Got to listen. Good friend of mine died from stage 4 colon cancer. His name is Greg Murtha, and he wrote a book that you can get on Amazon called Out of the Blue by Greg Murtha. And I would say the summary of that entire book is stop and listen. Stop and listen. Shut your mouth. Stop and listen. It's an amazing story. I'd encourage you, if you're interested in books, that's one that will inspire you. But folks, I'll tell you what, advocating for others, it's the way to go. If you want to be a great leader, be interested in the people that are working for you. Here's the thing I've learned. People support what they help to create. Let me say it again. People support what they help to create. So how do you build community? How do you build teams? You let people put their fingerprints all over it. It's not super efficient, but boy, it's amazing when people take ownership for something. And that's what Richard Hart has done brilliantly. He didn't do it for you. There's no marketing department. You don't rely on Richard Hart to tell the story. It'd be nice to get a live stream once in a while. But we understand that that's not a centralized thing. It's a decentralized thing. And you hold a bag and you can't sell any of it, right? You can't sell it to somebody, right? You engage with an immutable contract. That's it, right? So you're not hustling some product. You're not trying to get somebody into a downline. You're not trying to be a middleman. You're basically saying, hey, man, over here's the food. Hey, and the more we eat it, the more it appears. It's amazing. It's a miracle. Folks, there's things happening in our community and in our team that are absolutely blow my mind. We've been talking about tokenizing communities, and we have been given some tremendous opportunities. I am super excited. Probably in the next 30 days to tell you something that will literally shock you. You have to sit down. It's so big. But when I saw Sam get the goosebumps, the goosies in that is what is going on here. People are coming to this realization like, whoa. And at a time where people have lost a lot of hope, you got to tell them about this stuff, right? One beggar helping another beggar find food. Isn't that the truth? All right, folks, let's get back into the chat. Thanks for joining the Pulse today. My name is Matt. This is Crypto Heartbeat. And Steak and Bake JDB's here. What's up? Thoughts, child. What's up, man? There is a creative genius, a true artist. The Thothchild himself. Thoth. What's up, Samantha? I'm ready to rock, bro. You schedule a meeting of hearts and minds that will unleash love quakes, homie. Love quakes. Man, he's got a good way with words, too. Dude, I want to have you on the channel. Let's get it scheduled. I've been crazy busy the last 5 days, so I apologize for not setting it yet. But we're going to do an epic Thothchild Crypto Heartbeat Vulcan mind meld. We're going to trip the lights fantastic. We were both made of elastic. Daniel, what's up? I'm sitting 30 miles away from the nukes of the 56 Artillery Command. Wow. I burned my furniture to buy more hacks. Happily, no three. Sacrifice before mainnet. Yeah, no third. Yeah, no third sacrifice before mainnet for a wallet. Could you imagine that? Richard's like, okay, we're not going to launch, but we're going to do another sacrifice for a wallet. I don't think that would go so well. Not so well. Hexagon. I think we're getting really close to Pulse Chain launch, though, folks. V3 coming out really soon. Richard has just been on fire with these updates. And this is what I've always wanted, right? Him to be like, nice guy, not talking about private parts and giving us a bunch of updates about how it's coming. Love it. What's going on? Yeah, I did say teat, and it's just Thothchild. He is paying attention, if you know what I mean. He did say teat, and I think that's the appropriate term, right? Not trying to be, inappropriate. I love it. Aren't we all about 14? I think no matter how old you are, there's still a 14-year-old, or maybe it's an 11-year-old going, tee. Crypto Heartbeat, every problem is a spiritual issue. There you go, Crypto Stylist. Wow. It is so good to see you. I hope you're doing super fantastic. Hexonium, in Jesus we trust. Boom, Crypto Guts. Sup, Bobby Hexelrod. Man, this is like OGstream.com. Good to see you. Hola, amigos. Bobby Hexerod, man, talk about a guy that in the bull run was on the stream every single day. This guy, folks, he is my own private Idaho. That's the wrong reference. He is my own private, personal Harry Connick Jr. This guy, man, when you see him, I literally was like, okay, Harry Connick Jr. right here. Handsome, handsome devil you are, Bobby Hexelrod. Hexonium, peace. Hit the like buttons. Thanks a lot. Everybody's excited to see Crypto Stylist in here. That is awesome. Sam Camp's checking in. Extravagant taste. Find your purpose. I found mine. Fantastic. Fantastic. It's possible to find it. Anders, I just realized I did not register with the TNM when donating. Did I miss a nice leather gears? Well, if you did, yeah, so you need to let them know. You still can. You still can. Go to tnm.me. Let them know who you are, if you've donated fiat, what you want. And then, you just basically, if you donate fiat, they're going to have that information. If you donated crypto of a certain amount, you'll have to share your wallet address so that it can verify it. But no, check it out. Check it out, folks. And boy, they had a lot to take care of when it came to the premiums for giving, the Catalyst campaign. Hexonium, if you will record audiobooks, I will listen to this for hours, Matt. I got to write some, right? ChatGPT made it a lot easier to write a book. And you know what, Hexonium? This is a perfect segue. In the description, there is the book that I wrote with ChatGPT. I'm using AI these days. Anyway, it is called Unlocking Generosity. It's what I talk about on my channel in written form. And then it has a whole section on Texan token. And it's really for anybody who likes to print things out and kind of write in the margins, right? There's some very, very practical things, step-by-step guides on how to add a custom token, how to set up a MetaMask wallet, how to get in and out of crypto. And then there's some other things that are like, hey, why is this such a big deal? This isn't just like, hey, one Lambo. No, there's really something big going on here. It's a whole new financial system. Babylon is burning within an hour, my friends. Get on your horse. Got to pick one to ride. That's right. Money rules, fools. That's right. Or it rules fools. One of the two. Line in the Sand Society is where all the detail is on that. And you can always still give to the Texas Nationalist Movement. They need help more than ever. Folks, how big of a deal? If you didn't catch this, I was at the state capitol in Austin, Texas. And as soon as I arrived, set up my stuff, Daniel Miller came in and said, we have a House bill that's been filed, and it's the Texas Referendum Act. And it is House Bill 3596. You can check it out online. Brian Slayton is the one that filed the bill for the TNM and for the people of Texas. And now we need people to sign on as co-sponsors. It's a big deal. It's a big, big deal. So, folks, that's what you do. Check it out there. That's right. JB, we need more leaders like this. Babish, give and you will receive. There you go. Hex on Tyne. Yep. And that's the thing. This is the idea of stewardship, right? That none of it's really yours. You can't take it with you. So if you've been entrusted with a lot of resources, hey, I'm going to tell you, there's nothing better than letting go. And I don't mean being frivolous. I do mean serving and putting those things to work and being a good steward, being a faithful servant. It's amazing. Anders, what's going on? All right, let's see here. Looking forward to that stream. Awesome. Yes, it should be a fire stream. Just turned 17 for the third time, Anders. Fantastic. There you go. And what is that in dog years? That's the big question. Doubling down Catalyst campaign. Thank you so much, David Lee, for that. The last thing I will share is this. You saw in the thumbnail all of the different projects, right? We have Texan token. We've got Ophir crypto, right? We see Hex and Pulse Chain. I didn't even put Pulse X in there. You saw the Freedom Swap, which is the DEX that we're working on, as well as the Unifier token. And as we add more communities, those are going to be tied together with that Unifier token. We are in the process of talking with accredited investors for what we call infinite development. And that is a process by which we are becoming a serious organization, and we are raising capital so that we can provide liquidity on Freedom Swap DEX, and we can be very proactive about identifying new communities. Okay, so we're building that team, we're becoming official. But the way to do that is to properly disclose the risks of investments, and that's with people who are considered accredited investors, and that's somebody that has over $300,000 combined income or has a net worth over $1 million. And it is just a signature that basically you're saying, hey, I got my big boy pants on. I can handle this risk. If that's something you're interested in, what's really cool about it is we have an executive summary. The real upside is that the people that are participating in this raise with this private placement memorandum is that they get to participate with us in all of the ongoing communities, and they receive token in that process as a function of their ownership in the business. And so we're getting organized. And so this isn't just some friends now just doing this thing, but we have to do it the right way. And that's by working with accredited investors. If you would like to receive that executive summary, my email is in the description. It's matt@b4.vc, as in venture capital. Okay. So I think I have, I think I do. Yeah. b4.vc, and it's in the description there. I thought I had a banner for it and I don't. So that's about all today, folks. Be an advocate. Do unto others as you'd have them do to you. Here's the coolest thing, folks. Give and give and then give some more, because we unlock generosity by giving. Folks, thanks for joining the Pulse today. My name's Matt, and do not mess with Texas or the Philippines for that matter. Have a good one. Take care of yourself.